Hey everybody, Omar here once again, your knife of the party. I'm back with part 3 of my discontinued knife collection. Continuing on, this one's a lot more fun. This is what I call my Kershaw twin knife discontinued collection. This is a lot of fun. What we have here are sets of knives. Usually it's a big one and a small one, or it's a themed knife that right alongside it is another one that looks just like it. So let's go ahead and get into these knives here so I can describe what these are. I got lucky so far. I have not forgotten the names yet of any of these knives. So I'm kind of happy of that. And from looking at what I got in front of me, I don't think I'm going to forget the names of any of these right now. So let's go ahead and go through it one by one. The first one we have here is the Kershaw Energy knife. The large energy. Energy spelled N, and then the letter G, and then NR, and then Y. NR, Y, GY, energy. So that's what they did with that. This is the Kershaw Energy knife, the large one. Tech Trek, again. We've got G10 handles, G10 gray handles with Tech Trek on both sides of the knife. As you can see, Kershaw was pretty inventive back in these days, and these knives were a lot nicer than what they have out now for Kershaw, I'm sorry to say. And not as inventive. This knife was... this one was designed by Lee Williams in 14C28N. Back then, Kershaw would choose a designer, and then they would work with him. They brought in other knife designers because after their first year with Ken Onion was so successful, they decided to recruit more knife designers to contract them to make a knife. And this one is designed by Lee Williams, the Kershaw Energy knife, the large version one. And here we have the Kershaw Energy knife, the smaller version, the more popular one. Again, in 14C28N. This is not a front flipper, and it could be a precursor to being a forward front flipper. If you guys know what a forward flipper is, it's usually a regular flipper instead of it being, instead of it being like this, where it's on the side at a 90-degree angle. Right? They put it up on the top so it looks more like a front flipper, but really it's called a forward flipper. But this is not really considered a forward flipper because it's angled, kind of like, not at, sort of like at, not at a 90-degree angle, but more, a little bit more like at a 45-degree, I guess, angle. Whereas the forward flipper would be straight up on the side. So yeah, this is the Kershaw Energy knife. What makes this knife called the Energy, I'll explain. When you close the knife, and this, if you notice, the front flipper is sort of separated, right, from the knife. So if I open it and it's in this sort of half opening, you don't see the flipper at all, but then when you close it, the flipper reappears. So what's happening here is it's taking the energy of the loose flipper, which allows you to flip open the knife. So that's where it got its name. Kershaw Energy Knives by Lee Williams. Moving on, we have Ken Onion design. These are the Orange County choppers. These were made, I guess Ken Onion was a fan of the show, Orange County Choppers. That cycle show that was out back in the early 2000s. They released this one. It came in a metal box, and this one's got like a spider on it, and there's the chopper there on the knife, really very pretty. Aluminum scales. It's got a textured spider pattern on it. Really nice. Kershaw Orange County Chopper Blur in 14C28N. Moving on, we have its twin, which is the Kershaw Leak Orange County Chopper knife in black and silver, and I love this one. There's the chopper right there on the blade. We've got a spider coming down, making a web. Really very nice. And it's solid black on the other side. So the Kershaw Orange County Chopper set, I'm going to say. both the blur and the leak. Let's move on to the Kershaw Cyclone. You've already seen this knife in the white version. This is it in the black version. Again, there's the dial for the dual spring-assisted action. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, the spring-assisted action, as you can see. See that? Now I can turn off the spring-assisted action, and it's now a manual knife. Again, I'm going to say that the dial on this is very difficult to access. I mean, you have to kind of really press down to feel it to open and create that dual action. Same with this one. It's also the spring-assisted and on and off deal, as you can see right there. They did release the Kershaw Storm one final time without the dual access, where it was just a spring-assisted knife and you couldn't turn it into a manual knife. So they did do that. So the Kershaw Cyclones, both in the large and in the small, a large and small version. Twins, again, it's my twin collection. Moving on, we've got the Kershaw Junkyard Dog in G10. In Battleship Gray, and if you look closely, you can see the textured rivets on the knife. So it looks like a battleship. Really kind of nice. Love the shape on this one. I don't even know what kind of blade you'd call that. But this is called the Junkyard Dog. The big one. This is the big version in the G10. Again, a Galian design knife. Steel on this one is 14C28N. Mold 13 had not yet been made or been produced at the time. So 14C28N was the steel they were using at the time. And oddly enough, 14C28N was a little better steel. Not by much, but slightly a little bit better than the 14C28, than the Mold 13 that they eventually put out as their lineup. And now I think it's like they're up to like Mold 17 or Mold 18. I don't know what it is now, but it's certainly not as good as steel. So, but it's good enough for what you need it to be using it for. Again, we have the Kershaw Junkyard Dog, smaller version. This one was for the Air Force. Again, we got the textured rivets on the titanium, which they put on there. And there's if you look on the back, this is supposed to mimic a plane. You've got the fuel door here, and then no step. So, you know, it's supposed to mimic a plane. So there you go, the Junkyard Dog. Again, in 14C28N. Let's move on now to the Kershaw Storm. This is the large Kershaw Storm with the textured or the angled bump studs. So you would just shoot up. They were very well designed by Ken Onion, and they work really well. This is, I guess you could say this is also a flipper knife, but not really. There's the flipper there. Hidden, you could open it that way, but you're gonna have to flip your wrist in order to get any action out of it. So your main way of opening it really would be the bump studs if you didn't want to use that arm action or that wrist action to open the knife with the flipper tab, if that's indeed what it is. I don't know. Really, really nice knife. Good ergos on it. In aluminum scales with the Tech Trek grip. Kershaw Storm, the large one. Here we have the smaller version one, Kershaw Storm. This one was more popular. They did away with the Tech Trek at this time, releasing it a second time, because I couldn't find a Kershaw Storm in the Tech Trek, which I really wanted. So instead I got this sort of sandpaper version. I don't know what this stuff is, but it's really kind of rough on your hands, but it does provide good grip. It feels like sandpaper. I don't know. Kershaw Storm. Yeah, really nice knife. Like it a lot. This one's a unique one, kind of like the Kershaw Energy knife, but this one's got a completely different mechanism design on it. Also made by Lee Williams, who did the Kershaw Energy knives you saw at the beginning of this video. This is the Kershaw Overdrive. This one's a little bit different. Uh, it's a flipper knife, but the design of the flipper is different. You need to picture this. Inside the pivot of this knife is a round spoke wheel with teeth on it. And then the flipper also has teeth. So it's kind of like this, if I could make the motion with my hand. When you open the knife, the teeth kind of latch on to each other and fit inside of each other. So when you open the knife, it's kind of like hitting all of those teeth and inside the spoke wheel. I'm going to call it a spoke wheel. And that's why it's called the Overdrive. And it doesn't even feel like a regular flipper. If you could feel, if I could let you guys feel this, I'd let you feel it. But yeah, it doesn't open or feel like a regular flipper knife. You can actually feel the knife trying to find the little teeth inside the spoke wheel when you open the knife. It feels kind of weird, but after a while it gets kind of natural. But it's a lot of fun to flip because of that fact. The flipper on it is really weird. It's just a round flipper piece. Steel on this is 14C28N. This is a very, very rare knife, guys. Really rare to find in a box. All my knives are brand new in boxes, by the way. I forgot to mention that. Complete with boxes, paperwork, everything. It took me years to collect this knife, to make this knife collection. Here's the Overdrive in the smaller version. At the time that I was collecting these Kershaws, I wanted the gray silver boxes that they used to come in the early days. And this knife, they only released one production of this knife in the gray box. So if you guys can picture this, because I wanted all my boxes to be gray and silver, right? I actually passed on a ton of these little Overdrives until I could find one that came in a gray box, and thank God it did, because the stress was killing me at the time. I'll never forget that. That was such a huge deal for me to get this little knife in the gray box. I wanted my collection to look the same. You know, it's kind of anal, but that's me. Unlike the larger Overdrive knife, which is in G10, beautiful G10. For the smaller version, the scales on it are made of Zytel, which is kind of like a plastic. I'm going to say it's a cheap plastic, unfortunately. While this one is in 14C28N, for the smaller version, they released it in Mauve 13. This is one of the very first knives they ever released in Mauve 13 at the time, 2000, I'm going to say like 2006. When this knife came out. Again, you can see right there, Lee Williams design. Fantastic little knife there. Yeah, had to get it in a gray box. So the Kershaw little Overdrive in Zytel handles. Moving on, we have the Kershaw Groove. Now, this is a really great knife. This is the original first version Groove that was ever released. You can still buy this knife, the Kershaw Groove, but the version of the Kershaw Groove you're going to see now, if you were to go into any knife store, whatever your local knife store might be, or maybe a Walmart, will not have the grooves on that. This is sort of like a really cool cheese knife. As you can see, it's got these textured grooves on it. Really awesome. We've got the G10 inlays, making it very, very nice. This has got really nice custom smooth action, guys, for a Kershaw, which makes me laugh. This is a Kershaw knife, and the action on it rivals pretty close to a Washer Custom. Really, really awesome. Very well designed. There's no blade play on this one. This is an R.J. Martin design. Kershaw Groove. They also came in gray inlays and in gray inlays. This one, which I also have. I have that version in my collection, the gray version of this. And the final knife in my collection before I get to the creme de la creme. I hope you guys are all excited because I am. I love that. The fourth version, the fourth video, or the fourth section of my video, is on the creme de la creme collection of Kershaws. You're going to see some Kershaws that are just incredibly rare and hard to find, and probably the most expensive in the entire collection. This is called the Kershaw Zing in black G10. Yeah, black G10. Again with the grooves. It's another twin knife, just like the Kershaw Groove. We got the Kershaw Zing. As you can see, they're very similar as far as the blades go. Again, super smooth action on this. Jesus. R.J. Martin really hit it with the smoothness on this, if he had anything to do with it. Again, keep in mind, this is a production knife, so, you know, I know we all know that when they say it's designed by someone, that's the person that designed the knife. They didn't necessarily put it together. They probably put the prototype of the knife together before presenting it to Kershaw. But, you know, the number of knives they made were all done probably on an assembly line, you know, anywhere between 25 to maybe 100 guys putting this knife together, or putting a bunch of these knives together at that time. So, Kershaw Zing. R.J. Martin design. So that is it for part 3. I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you my final video. That one I have so much pride, because that's going to be the hardest one to get rid of if I ever decide to get rid of this collection. I'm definitely getting rid of that section last. So I will see you guys in a bit for the final video, and before I close the end of the night. That'll be the final video of this 4-part series of discontinued Kershaw knives. I'll see you guys in a bit. Hope you're excited. I am.